Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Pittsburgh Steelers just got their very first W of the season with a big W over the Atlanta Falcons. And let me just say to the Falcons right now, valiant effort down the stretch made things relatively interesting, but it just was not enough for you guys to go and get the W. So kudos to you for the very good game, but take out your Metro cards and get aboard that L train. Very next order of business. I've said it in the past. I'm fixing to say it again. The Pittsburgh Steelers is the #1 team in the NFL as it pertains to fans occupying the opposing team's stadium. If you listen to this game on the radio and you had no visual whatsoever, when the Steelers were making plays, the crowd was so loud you would have thought they were playing a home game. If you take a look into the stands, the amount of terrible towels that occupied Atlanta should be a crime in the state of Georgia, because how you let the away team take over your stadium. You should be ashamed of yourselves. But let's talk about the actual game. Justin Fields, what a game you played. First and foremost, 6 incompletions all day. How many times have we had to watch over the past couple of years the tail end of the career of Ben Roethlisberger having to have terrible OCs and also terrible play with that noodle arm, barely able to throw the football down the field? We had to endure Mitch, he is a bitch, Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, but Justin Fields goes out there, dinks and dunks, or occasionally throws it down the field and looked very efficient, and when he needed to tuck the football and run, he gave you that too. 14 carries, over 50 yards, and the Falcons felt every single piece. George Pickens making big plays all over the field. He would have been over 100, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But on the ground, Najee Harris, 20 carries, 70 yards. But again, the Falcons felt every piece of this man's shoulder pad the entire evening. Wore their ass down. And as it pertains to defense, my God, what a complete game. Outside of the touchdown drive, our defense was firing on all cylinders. Our D-line was giving Atlanta problems the entire game. TJ Watt could have had 3 sacks tonight, and I think it was 2 strip sacks he had taken away from him, but one way or another, you close out the game, apropos, might I add, with the sack to have the clock finally hit that 000. You also had a fumble recovery as well. We had 2 interceptions, and we really could have had 4 today. Dante Jackson dropped one in the first quarter. He got one back in blood late in the game, might I add, and Deshaun Elliott added another one to boot. We had 2 3-and-outs in the second half, back-to-back, and also a 5-and-out as well, with 2 takeaways, 3 takeaways total in the entire game. Our special team, Chris Boswell, the last of the Killer Bees, with 6 field goals. And had we not tried to go for it on that 4th down, he would have had 7. We were balling. All aspects, all phases of the game, we played a very good game, but the one thing we've got to get fixed is at our discipline. 9 penalties, ridiculous. George Pickens had a magnificent catch down the stretch on a 3rd and long, which we almost never throw the football deep on a 3rd and long the past few years. We just so happen to go and get that reception, and unfortunately, we happen to get, a push-off from George Pickens. Furthermore, we had 8 more penalties throughout the game on our squad. We've got to be fundamentally sound. We got to know our assignment, our alignment, our responsibility, and we got to be disciplined. Okay, we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. There's a ton of teams out in the league that are better than Atlanta. Maybe not so much a ton by the conclusion of this season, but we've got to be able to not shoot ourselves in the foot, because this game should not have been this close. If you were watching this game from opening kickoff until the final sack from TJ Watt, you saw the Pittsburgh Steelers won this game. But we had numerous different moments in which we could have possibly messed around and lost it. Because every single time we were in a position to where we could have blown this game wide open, all of a sudden, we got ourselves a penalty. We're building a little bit of momentum, then we got ourselves a penalty. Ridiculous. Let's be smart about how we move about things. But one way or another, I enjoyed watching us go and get this W, and let's build this momentum. Because remember, our first half of this season, I'm not saying it's a cakewalk, because there ain't no cakewalk, so no give me in the NFL. But our back half, it's night and day to our front half of this season. So as far as I'm concerned, if there was a place to start to rack up wins, it's now. Early, often, before the middle of November, because it's going to get very difficult then. But we ain't going to focus on that. We're going to focus on now. And furthermore, granted, seedings doesn't really matter in the divisions this early in the season, but Baltimore lost on Thursday. Cincinnati lost to New England. And Cleveland is right now kicking off against Dallas. As far as I'm concerned, if they all lose and we get a W, hey, we sitting pretty after week 1. But let's not get comfortable. Let's not sit on our laurels, rest on our laurels. Let's make sure we continue to take care of business, get healthy. We might have just messed around and lost a punter, but one way or another, we got ourselves a W, and let's roll into next week with the hot hand. Start Justin Fields again. I like what I saw. I'd like to continue to see what I saw. Everybody get your hands up in here. Steelers on 3, win on 6. 1, 2, 3, Steelers. 4, 5, 6, win. Let's go, baby. We got ourselves a W. There's no better way to kick off the season than with a W. Let's go, Steelers. Let's fucking go.